it looks like they are ready to go here. Here we go. So IronicCannibal has the white pieces against DruPeirce. It looks like we finally have a game going. IronicCannibal starting with G4. DruPeirce combating with D5, taking control of the center of the board. I'd like to see D4 here from IronicCannibal just to start taking control of this center. G4 not a very good opening. Just this idea of, well, that can happen. That might also be a good idea just to kind of get a little bit of control of the center now and to protect this pawn, which is kind of in no man's land right now. The bishop straight up attacking it. IronicCannibal already using a full minute, and here Drew has a free pawn. Elects instead to go a5, not completely understanding that move. IronicCannibal taking a little bit of control of the center of the board with d3. Drew now attacking, and there's the push here from the bishop. Drew can do the exact same thing here, plus we'll attack that piece there. At this point, probably want to just drop the bishop back, but now white is slightly winning. But this bishop here could do damage a little bit. And that pawn needs to be taken at this point. Now double attacking the pawn right here. Nothing crazy going on so far. A4, really a wide open E file here. Very surprising to see all of this happening. And there it's taken with that pawn is finally taken with the knight instead of with the bishop. I would have liked to rather have seen the bishop, considering that it would be attacking this knight as well on f3. This doesn't work because the king is defending the f2 square, so there's no fork there. This now is attacking this pawn. Unfortunately, this is still defended by the queen. Excuse me, defended by the queen, and now also defended by the e6 pawn. So we finally see some action on the e-file. Looking and here, developing that f pawn or f bishop out, attacking this knight. This knight probably is going to have to drop back to f6. That's really its only escape square, to be quite honest, and it needs to be done. Else you just straight up lose. The knight can't move here because of the bishop, can't move here because of the king, and cannot move here because... Okay, so this is kind of a trade offer, but I would definitely take... Oh! Take the bishop. Oh no, dude. And now he's in check. All right, now drop the bishop back. Either one of these squares works here. I would say e5. Actually, taking here is also fine because the knight is protecting this square as well, and you would be attacked. This would actually be a very nice little play. So if the bishop came here, it's attacking the queen. The queen cannot take because, the queen cannot take, and brings the rook out. But the idea is the queen cannot take because the knight is defending that square, and if the queen just moves away, then the bishop would take the rook for free. So black needs to move, or black actually needs to take here. This is a very important move. Moves the queen away. Take here with the bishop. Attack this rook. That is the play here. This queen's not really doing a whole lot of anything. You're taking the pawn here, but this knight isn't really doing anything out here. And then you lose. What piece was that? I think that was the light square bishop. So the light square bishop is now gone. For a pawn, unfortunately. If this had been taken, if we go back a couple moves here, if this had been taken here with the bishop. I guess it's not going to let me do that unless I bring up an analysis board, which I might be able to do. No, not really. But the idea is the bishop takes, and then if the bishop takes there, then you just take the rook, and that's a winning trade for white. Bringing the rook into the fold. Okay. I like this move. This is a solid move. So this is actually a pin here, or a skewer rather. So he has to move. IronicCannibal needs to move the rook. Probably can just take this pawn, or you can bring it out here. It is attacking this this square. Can't take here because of the bishop, but this is putting black in a very, very solid position here. And bringing the bishop out, I was just about to suggest that, and that's just giving up your knight. That's a not a good play there, unfortunately. And they're too little, too late putting the bishop out onto that diagonal, because then it's just gobbled up by the queen. And we have a mate in 3 here. So bishop to b4 check right here would force c3. Take again would force the queen up. But instead, the rook comes into the fold, which for players who don't have a lot of experience, bringing all of your pieces into the game can be a very good way to more easily find checkmate. Now you need to be careful not to be in stalemate, but I don't really think that's going to be a problem here so much. But this is a solidly winning position for black. It's just a matter of pinning down the king, and making sure that you have enough time on the clock, and make sure that white still has moves available if you are not putting the king in check. Yeah, exactly. As long as you are up this material, just don't blunder pieces. Like that. Take there. King's forced to move here. You take the rook, and it becomes... Yep, and the queen is taken. The rook will probably be taken next turn. Indeed it is. And this is a winning... This should be winning for black here. And now black needs to be careful. Black needs to be very careful here. I would say to move this rook over to here. That's also fine. Keeps the bishop safe because it's protected by the pawn here. Black continues to gobble up pawns. This it's a mate in 2 position. Very smart not to take this pawn instead. But be careful. Don't put him in stalemate. Do not put her in stalemate if you want to win this. Oh, moving the bishop would have been check. Well, actually a double check there if she had, or if he had brought it here. Eating all the pawns for no reason is indeed the essence of this tournament. This is mate in 3, bringing the bishop to, or the rook over to e8, putting it in check. Would force the king to f4. All right. I would say it would be optimal not to take this. What did I just say? What did I just say? And we have a draw, ladies and gentlemen. We have a draw. And this is why I told them right before the match, if the other player has no legal moves and it's not checkmate, it's stalemate. And that's exactly what happened here. And just as soon as I said, you shouldn't take the pawn here, the pawn is taken. The king is not in check. The king has no legal moves. Cannot move to any of these spaces because of the queen. Cannot move here because of the bishop. Cannot move here because of the queen. Cannot move here because of the queen. And cannot move here because of this pawn here on h6. The king is safe where it is, but it cannot move. That is stalemate, ladies and gentlemen.